Yo, what is up? It is me. I'm back after quite a long while away. Elliot Upton, this is AUP Fitness Live. This is our twice weekly live feed. Unfortunately, I missed a week last week due to family problems, but I am back now, do not fear. Andrew Willett, first in, one of our superstars from the Live Up program, who is getting epic results. Andrew, I want to see that six-pack very, very soon, coming from where you started. Orlando, sup? So, for those of you who've not been in here before, we've got followers adding on every single week, so I'll give you a quick breakdown of what's about to go on here. For the next hour, you will see me answering all of your questions live, no holds barred. You can guard me whatever you want. Don't be abusive to me, don't be abusive to anybody else on the forum, and you will be absolutely fine, but ask me anything you like. We usually cover anything from intermittent fasting. Let me start with that. Do I believe in it? It has its uses, particularly medical uses, but do I think it is a good idea with regards to body composition? No, I do not. However, for instance, leaving breakfast a little later, can that be useful? Yes, it can, but I wouldn't necessarily call that intermittent fasting per se. Second thing always comes up, ketosis. Do I believe that ketosis is the new magic pill? No, I do not. I believe that ketosis, again, has its medical uses, just like intermittent fasting. These medical uses are things like PCOS, epilepsy, if you have some form of insulin resistance or glucose issues, then it can be useful. However, ketosis, as it is used in the fitness industry, is in my opinion, pretty stupid idea. It's misused, it's missold, it's essentially just a great big advertising or way of selling something to you. If I give you a diet that is chicken and meat and vegetables and boring things, or I give you a diet that is sausages, burgers, cheese, yogurts, creams, but apparently they will both get you to the same place, which of the two are you going to give me your hard-earned cash for? Correct. The one that gives you burgers, sausages, creams and cheese. It's not the be-all and end-all. Ketosis, no, I do not believe in it. So now I've covered intermittent fasting and ketosis. You don't have to ask me then. What else? How much water do you need to drink a day? You need to drink anywhere between 3 and 6 litres per day, depending on whether you're male or female, and depending on how much you sweat to a degree. Is sweating a problem? No, it's not. It's an efficient waste disposal. The Live Up program that we have out there, this is a £50 per month personal training program. This is going to give you full nutrition, full training, full supplementation, plus everything is run by a massive central sex-specific forum where everything goes on. So if you want any information on that, hit the link in our bio or direct message your email address asking for some information on online training to the UP Fitness profile, and our lovely lady Charlotte will answer you. Right, I'm going to start going down through some of the questions now. Lots of you coming in. We've got loads of my Live Up squad in here. Loads. What do we got? Who's the first one in to give me a question? Loving Fitness, can you explain about the Beachbody plan? Yes, I've just touched upon it there now. The Beachbody plan or the Bikini plan is the Live Up plan. This is an online personal training program. It's pre-made, so it is a generic program that has been designed to get results. Okay, it's not a generic program in the common sense of the word. It is a transformation program that I have created myself a few years back that gets, as you have now seen, extraordinarily good results out of both men and women of all ages, anywhere from 18 to 60 to 70. It works. It's that simple. Now what it is it's a 3-day per week training plan as you start it. It's based over 4-week training cycles. You get your full nutrition set out for you, and it is in a minimal way adjusted to you as you go along. Of course, it is only £50 per month, so you can't expect your own one-to-one trainer. That is what is reserved for our online. The fact of the matter is, it is arguably the easiest plan to stick to online. It is going to get you the best results online in the quickest time online if you comply with it properly. Now, there are an awful lot of people in here right now from the Live Up plans, both the male and the female plans. So any of you guys who are in there, any of my team, do please chime in here. Just give them your honest opinions on the plan and what you think, what you've got out of it. And anyone else watching this, you can check that out because I know there's a few of them in there right now. Hello from Ireland, Philly. Hello from Marbella right now. Orlando, 3 to 6 litres per day, correct. 3 to 4 if you're a female and 4 to 6 if you're a male. Thoughts on a high-carb, plant-based diet with some meats and fish added in a couple of times a week? I don't really have any particular thoughts on that, neither here nor there. You've not defined your goals for me. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. High carbs, unless you're extremely lean, tends not to work for many people. If you're very, very lean, then by all means. And I'm a massive advocate for meat. I believe that every single person needs meat to do what their body needs to do and to act the way they need to act and for their brain to do what it needs to do. So adding it in just a couple of times a week, I guess, will at least keep you healthy, but I think your results will be optimal with regards to what we discuss here now. Fitness, body composition, no, not necessarily, and certainly if you're going on the high carb version of that. Jones, Pachow, Gemma, what's up? What have we got? What have we got? Thomas Papp, are there any obvious signals that I might need digestive enzymes? Most obvious is likely to be poor digestion. You know, do you get acid reflux? Are you not digesting your food? Are you feeling bloated a lot? Do you feel quite sluggish and tired after meals? These could be many signs that you aren't digesting your food properly. If that is the case, taking a digestive enzyme capsule, dependent on the severity of it, taking 2 to 3 digestive enzyme capsules per day, or 1 with each meal, which is what I like to do personally because I do have issues with my stomach sometimes from past illnesses, but having that really will help. Now, digestive enzymes, for those of you who don't know, are the enzymes that are going to help you break down proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Okay, so they're actually going to help you break down the food groups and allow your body to absorb them correctly. Now, this helps absolutely everything. Digestive enzymes are one of those supplements that I believe everybody should be taking in at all times. So very much worth doing. Serrano, what's up? Laura Cupcakes, what do you think of eating bugs for protein? It's a new thing out. It is indeed a new thing out. Again, I don't necessarily think there's anything bad with it. My guess would be it would be much more highly bioavailable than plant-based proteins. And do we have a bug problem? Maybe. What we are trying to do, you know, the whole industry is now trying to find ways of sustaining the amount of foods we eat, and especially in the fitness industry as well. You know, with things like whey protein, everyone's going into it, and it's caused us problems. It's caused us issues with our gut. And again, the way that dairy is now created, you know, the hormones that offend the cattle, even with whey, which is heavily filtered down, some of these things do still exist. So if you can use bugs, you can use, you know, various meat proteins, this, that, and the other, try it. I think for me, one of the important things is to vary your protein sources, not only in your food, your whole food, but also in your supplementation. This is one of the reasons that we as UP not only do our vegan proteins and pea proteins, we also do the whey protein, so you can rotate it, and it's quite important that you do so. You know, just to keep it simple, for every tub you buy, just make it a different version each month. So swap between, say, our whey protein and our vegan protein each month. Obviously, if you have issues with whey or some form of lactose intolerance or issues with dairy at all, then stick to the vegan. It's absolutely awesome. Little secret, have yourself a scoop of the chocolate hazelnut vegan whey, and add a scoop of Choco Treats to it. It's absolutely banging. Hi from Gibraltar, not far from me. I was down there seeing my older brother not long ago. In fact, I think you messaged about a restaurant just outside, didn't you? Best carb choice for pre-workout. Been doing berries, but I feel tired halfway through intense basketball games. You're probably better off with a combination of sort of slower GI carbs about an hour before, so greater quantity, and something like oats or rice before, maybe even potato, but it depends on your digestive system. For me, if it's something like weight training, I tend to get clients who are very lean and need it, have a necessity for it. I'll have them eat rice cakes or something like that right before they train, and that tends to work for them. But something like, you know, load up on some oats in the morning if you have a big basketball game, load up on some oats, and that will probably suffice a bit better. Berries aren't really going to do you any good. Can you pay bit by bit with the fitness plan instead of paying it all up front? You can pay 50 per month rather than paying 150 in one hit for the first 12 weeks. We now allow it so you just pay 50 per month. It just rolls over. So yes, you absolutely can do that. Magnesium supplements, are they beneficial? 100 1,000,000%. Magnesium, again, as with digestive enzymes, is one of those supplements that I suggest every single one of you out there who cares about your health, well-being, moods, and results takes. Magnesium helps to calm your body down. It helps to settle your nervous system. It helps to settle your muscles. It helps to settle electrical signals. It helps to settle your brain. This means that it's going to help you sleep and recover properly. Now, the body cannot do without sleep. It dies without sleep. You have to protect your sleep, and you have to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of sleep, especially if you train, especially if you're stressed, etc. So yes, absolutely, magnesium is very, very important. Which form depends on really what you want to do, but most chelates of magnesium are going to do similar things. We have our magnesium supplements online, which I believe Ultra Mag and magnesium L-threonate. They do very, very similar things, except magnesium L-threonate will cross the blood-brain barrier, and it will help to settle a kind of an overexcited brain. So if you're one of these people, when you're going to bed, suddenly your mind starts going bah, 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 you start solving the theory of relativity a second time over, then something like magnesium L-threonate can be very beneficial for you. So either go to my profile, Elliot Upton, and hit the link in the bio, and that will take you straight to the shop. Or you can go into upfitness.com, hit the link in our bio, this actual main page, and then you can find your way to the shop. More. I'm losing inches, but not weight, in a calorie deficit and train 5 times a week. It doesn't matter, Ali, if you are not losing weight, please, it's irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Do not, especially females, do not get tied up on your weight, what you weigh and what is happening to your weight. Now, as you may or may not have heard if you followed me at all, one of the things that I do on the Live Up program is I refuse to allow women to weigh themselves. I do not allow it. It's not okay. Okay? The reason for this is that your weight can fluctuate wildly day to day, anywhere between 2 and 5 kilos overnight. Okay, this is overnight. Now, that could be based on the time of month it is. It can be based on if you've eaten something that didn't agree with you, if you've eaten more or you've eaten less, or you've drunk more or you've drunk less, or if you've got good quality sleep or low quality sleep, or if the moon is in a different position, or if the pressure is different around you, the weather is different. All of these things can affect the amount that a body weighs, especially females, because you tend to retain a lot more water than men. If your estrogen fluctuations are up and down, this again can have a massive pull on it. So do not stress about your weight. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. Let it go. Just submitted my case study application for UB Dubai. Wish you luck. Good luck. Miss Sassy, hi Leah, what would be the best nutrition course if you want to deepen the knowledge into that direction, somewhat without bullshit and wasting time? Because ours is not yet out, I would recommend the Precision Nutrition course. For me, realistically, of all of the courses I did, everything I ever went through, and I did a lot of stuff when I was younger, a lot of stuff. The only one that I thought, you know what, this is going to sit with me for the rest of my life was the Precision Nutrition certification. So I'd highly recommend you go and check them out and read up on pretty much all the stuff that John Berardi does. He's a very smart guy. I'm a massive fan of him. Lisa Marie, what do you think about two-a-day workouts? Is it possible to lift in the morning and do cardio in the evening? That's not technically 2-a-day workouts. I think that's just training twice a day in a different way. But yeah, you do it. That's not too much of an issue. However, I wouldn't recommend that you get into the habit of training twice a day unless you know that everything else is on point. Is your recovery on point? And are you eating correctly? If, however, you're trying to train twice a day to outrun the fact that you still want to cheat on your diet, that's not a good method of getting yourself to where you want to go. Came off deload week, weight increase, muscle plus body fat. It's been 4 weeks. Do I accept the conditioning is less as I'm 6 kilos up from September? Yeah, inevitably it's going to be. But you know, you can still do a little blast, a little metabolic blast. You know, it depends what kind of body fat you're sitting at. If you've got up to 16, 17%, then there's an issue. Whereas if you're still sitting anywhere around the 12% mark, not an issue at all. If you genuinely want to get bigger, that's probably a really nice place to be. How can I loosen the muscles in my back? They are so tight. That's a hugely open question. It could be a million reasons. It may not even be the muscles in your back. It could very well and most likely be your hip flexors. If it's your hip flexors, you would need to do a lot of hip flexor stretches, adductor stretches as well, whilst activating your glutes with things like hip thrusts, single leg hip thrusts, and any activation drills there. However, if it is actually your back, there's a number of stretches that you can do. None of which I can really show you here. It makes it slightly more difficult. But if you go onto even Google, would really help, our own YouTube, and just look for stretches for your erector spinae. So erector spinae, you can write these down. Stretches for your erector spinae, stretches for your quadratus lumborum, your QL, and stretches for your psoas, PSOAS, or hip flexors. If you Google those three things, it's going to show you loads of stretches and things to do to loosen off your back. Should I do a cut for 4 weeks and then go back to surf at the same amount I am now? Abs are still visible to a degree and vascularity is still there. So do not go for a cut. Like there's a famous saying, you can't, you know, Charles actually said it, I believe. Charles Poliquin said it, that you only have one ass, you can't sit on two horses. Pick a horse to sit on and stay on it. Okay, because if all that's going to happen there, Cam, is if you've put on a little bit of muscle and then you try and do a little cut, you're going to lose the muscle you've just tried to put on. Stick to it. If you're hovering around 12 odd percent, 14%, whatever, stay the distance. If you want to get bigger, stay the distance. Just keep those abs just visible and then have that, you know. Don't start trying to chase two rabbits at once. It's not a good idea. How is it you program for long-term body composition? What form of periodization do you use? It's difficult really, because with regards to long-term body composition, you have to be fluid. You know, you have to be able to adapt it on the spot because things are going to change. Things are going to change day to day, week to week, month to month. So you can have a rough plan, you know, and it is literally that. Everybody looks for the science. Everybody looks for the magic program. Everyone looks for these magic formulas and magic numbers, but they do not exist. The fact of the matter is that every single thing that we do is fluid because every single client is different. Every decision we make is going to have a different reaction from every single client we pass that decision on to. So you can plan out based on, this is where they want to be, and common knowledge and experience, is going to say, well, this is roughly what I know works. But you have to be willing to say, okay, that was a mistake. I need to adjust that, take it out, shift it, and this. And you have to just look at what's happening with the body. Is the feedback that the body is giving you, is it what you wanted? If not, you're going to have to change. And sometimes you could write the best program in the world. Everything you think is absolutely perfect about that program, but it doesn't work. And then sometimes the simplest programs that you think, let's just see how it goes. Suddenly, boom, biggest result. It's very, very difficult. Now, I'm about to hold seminars on the 24th of March and the 7th of April in London and Manchester respectively. Tickets are going to be released for them this weekend to the Live Up members first on Sunday, and then they will be released to the general public on Monday. But I go into a lot of how I do things and how I think, and that kind of also answers that question in a bit more detail. And the whole seminar is about how I put the Live Up program together and my thought process behind it and why it works so well. Umain is a 1500 calorie blah 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 4 days a week, should make a proper reduction of body fat whilst minimizing muscle loss. If you're a female, that might just about work. If you're a male, it possibly won't unless you're recovering really, really well. But Sassy, oh yes, I know them, thanks. When will the UP course be out? It's being built, so these things take time. And one of the things that obviously we've always tried to do as UP is make sure that we do not release anything until it's of a standard where we know it's going to work and we know it's going to, impress you as best we can. Now obviously some things we have to hit the market first with them and hit the ground running and adapt as we go, but with the education stuff we're having to wait. Now of course we will adapt it along the way, but it is being built and it is a huge process building something not only that size but of that quality. We could easily have released years ago a level 3 qualification that is the same as everything else in the industry, but that is not UP, that's not who we are, it's not our values, it's not what we stand for. So the course is literally going to take a complete new PT and make them one of the best PTs in the world by the time they have qualified and they have certified. Now this is very, very important that we get this right to make sure we deliver exactly what we need to you. So I don't know on that. Hi Elliot, I've been contemplating taking creatine, would appreciate any guidance on the best use. Many thanks. Creatine's absolutely amazing. It will help your training no end and to a degree your health. I would suggest taking about 5 grams post-workout. If you're training, take 5 grams post-workout in your shake, and that is likely to be when your body is going to take it the best. Alternatively, if it's a non-training day, take it first thing in the morning with a bit of water. For an 83 kilogram man, my guess is, Safa, that if you're 83 kilos and you're trying to eat 1600 calories while training 5 days a week, you're not going to last long at all. So UP is about fat loss, but what about cardiovascular fitness? Lauren, if you trained with me for any more than 3.5 minutes, you'd know how your cardiovascular fitness was going to be affected. I'm just going to leave that. That's as simple as it is. The problem with a lot of you out there when you're weight training is you don't think it's cardio because you're not actually weight training. You're in the gym and you're thinking about what social media profile you're going to look at, or thinking about someone who's pissed you off, or thinking about a new pair of shoes when you should be screaming inside. Again, on these seminars that we're going to be running, there's going to be 2 training sessions. One of them is a strength-based session, which will not be so hard. The other one is going to be a higher volume body composition style session, which will be difficult, and we will show you how to train properly. Now it's important, very, very important, that you get in the gym and you put it on the gym floor. You work for it. If you don't work for it, then you're not going to get anything out of it. So bear that in mind. Would you recommend glute activation on leg days? Absolutely, yes. I've just actually put a post up, isolate to activate. So, you shouldn't be using these kind of fluffy little activation exercises as main exercises. What you absolutely should be doing, if you want to build your butt, for instance, is 4 to 5 sets of activation drills, getting your glutes working in every plane of motion, which then means that when you're doing your hip thrusts or when you're doing your lunges, they are potentially going to be firing slightly better than your quads or your hamstrings, for instance, and you will then potentially get better growth out of them. So yes, absolutely, adding glute activation on these days, but do not prioritize glute activation as your prime exercises. You're welcome, Philly. It's a monthly sign-up bespoke to the individual macros workout program. The monthly £50 per month is not bespoke to you, no. However, the one-to-one online training, which can be found on UP Fitness as well, is absolutely tailored to you down to the finest detail. We have trainers all over the world, so depending on what time zone you're on, you're always serviced. But that is super, super, super bespoke. However, the Live Up one is not. Am I coming to Ireland soon? I have no plans to come to Ireland. One of our friends did ask me to do a seminar over there once I'd got moving in London in the UK, so it's a possibility, but we will see. We will see. Do you believe I should avoid gluten? I'm generally healthy overall. If you don't have an issue with it, is there any reason to? Not necessarily. I don't believe this bullshit that everyone is gluten intolerant. However, if you have any suspicion or you have gut issues or health issues or sluggishness or anything like that, then it's potentially worth leaving out. I don't have the slightest issue with gluten whatsoever. Feel absolutely no issues with having it, but some people are different. So down to an individual basis. Saw COQ10 on the UP website. What is it and would you recommend it? PS, I'll definitely be at the Manchester seminar. Well, keep your eyes out for them because the tickets to the general public will be released on Monday. Now, with these seminars, both Manchester and London, I'm only allowing 30 places per seminar. The reason being is during the practical stuff, I don't want too many people in the gym because obviously there's only going to be 4 or 5 of us trainers being able to service you, and I want to make sure that everybody gets the absolute most out of the seminar. So when it comes up on Monday, keep your eye on my profile because the tickets I would imagine are going to sell out fairly fast. COQ10, back to the question, it's a cofactor. So COQ10 is an enzyme that is used in the majority of processes in your body. So essentially, whatever you take, for instance, a supplement, if you take COQ10, it's potentially going to help you to absorb it much better. That's a simplified way of explaining COQ10. Helps your body do all sorts of stuff better. It's going to help anti-aging. It's going to help all sorts of things. Any tips for training with hypertension? I would suggest looking after your diet as a priority and sticking to cardio sticking to cardio, should we say. I would suggest making sure you're doing cardio, not neglecting cardio. Reduce the amount of stuff you do overhead or with your head below your shoulders. So, we're talking about anything where you're declined or anything where you're overhead pressing, things like that, and get your body weight down. If you have hypertension, get your body weight down and get your body weight down very, very fast. Now, this is a subject that's very, very close to my heart. My father died last week after suffering a massive, massive heart attack. I spent a week in hospital with him while he was on life support, and unfortunately he passed away very, very young, 62. So any of you out there with these issues in your 20s, 30s, things like that, you need to sort this out, and you need to sort it out fast. Being unhealthy is just not acceptable. If you have a high body weight and you have issues with your heart, you need to get it down fast, fast, fast. And that's going to be a combination of controlled weight training, a very, very good diet, and some cardio. Philly, what can I take to give you energy? So, name it. I would suggest making sure you're hydrated. That's usually the first reason people don't have much energy. Secondly is because they do not prioritize their sleep. They spend the majority of their nights sitting up watching Netflix series. And if not those two, it's overtraining or too much coffee. So if you've just put your hand up and said, yeah, shit, that's me, then I would fix them before you start looking for something to give you pretend energy. Lisa, I can confirm lifting is definitely cardiovascular and mine has improved tenfold since starting with Christian and UP Mank. There you go. That is proper weight training. To put that into perspective, the amount of marathon runners and endurance athletes that I've trained over the last 12 or 13 years who have come in and said, oh, I don't want to do this because I don't want to get slow. I don't want to get big because I don't want this. I don't want to weight train because of this. And I'm saying the ones who've actually had an open mind enough to turn around and say, okay, do you know what? I trust you. The majority of people who run marathons, for instance, are shaving, after learning how to weight train, are shaving between 40 minutes and 60 minutes off their marathon times. Okay, put that in perspective. No extra marathon training, just being stronger means that they're shaving 40 to 60 minutes off of a marathon time. Be strong, train to be strong, and if you train hard to be strong, you will be better at everything. That is a fact. Nadia, welcome. Stufa, greetings. Miss Sassy, makes sense. Is a seminar you'll be holding available and useful for clients and more so for trainers? Absolutely both. It's going to be just as useful for the pair. The way I have planned the seminar, because I know that a lot of you out here who come and listen to me talk shit on here every week, there's 50% trainers, 50% general public. Now, what I have built the seminar to kind of address is to communicate with trainers how to think differently about achieving more out of their clients with less work, getting better compliance and doing things the right way. One of the things I think that is missed all over the industry is that people have forgotten that we're here to provide value. You know, social media is what has fucked this up. You know, even the most popular social media figures right now are not actually providing any value. They provide entertainment. Okay, and this is what people buy into. They buy into the entertainment. People have forgotten how to give value. So from a PT's point of view, the seminar shows you how to genuinely be valuable to your client. When you are valuable to your client, you're going to have that client for a long time. You're going to get results out of the client. The client will have faith in you. And to the general population, it teaches you the absolute basics of nutrition and training from the ground up, and how to apply it to yourself, and how to think like I think when you're putting your own programs together and exercising for yourself. So I genuinely believe that it covers all bases. I really am, you know, I've put a lot of work into it, and it is my first seminar, so don't get me wrong. This is going to be the first seminar of this scale. So don't get me wrong, there's going to be adjustments, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be all sorts of stuff made along the line, but hey, no more than I do here, and I'm sure I can use my boyish charm to make you forget about them. Who would you recommend training with to become a PT? Right now, Ricky, anyone at all. It's all shit. Get your piece of paper, and the day you get your piece of paper, that's when you learn. You just need to be insured, basically. After that, you know, it's all by the by. The PT that you want to become is going to happen after you're certified, because right now, the standards of certification are abysmal. They are piss poor, absolutely terrible. So just get your piece of paper, then start reading books and learning. Which bar to use on a straight arm pull down? I use a lat bar, tried to squeeze elbows together at the bottom, but not sure if the wrong bar. Nick, you could just be going slightly too wide. You know, if you've gone right out the far ends of a lat pull down bar, because of the leverage, you're going to struggle to get full contraction on the lats. You're more likely to get lower traps and rhomboids. Whereas if you come in a little bit, you know, the way to think about it is, if I'm going to step out to the side. Now, if we look at my arm here, if we're on a wide bar, when we come down, the bar ends up there. Look at the angle of my forearm here. What you want on a bar to get, especially if you struggle to activate your lats, is you want your arm to be at a right angle, basically all the time. Okay, sorry, right angle. You want your forearm, to be vertical all of the time. So bring your grip in just a little bit and see how that works for you. I would imagine you're probably going to be able to get a much better squeeze in it. Where can I learn more about protein cycling? If protein cycling you mean just varying your protein sources, there's not really much to learn. If you want to learn about it, go into Google. If, however, you mean days of higher protein, days of lower protein, again, go to Google. There's not much more to it than that. So, also lat pull down using two handles. I tried it today. I like being able to separate the handles at the bottom. Felt more of a squeeze on lats. Does this sound okay? Absolutely, yes. I did a video on that not long ago for people who struggle to feel a lat. Nick Brev, no problem, it's okay. Health Hacker Gemma, that's a good point. I've got your email in my my inbox, Gemma. I will be in London, as we spoke about, on probably about the 22nd of this month, but I'll drop you an email on that when I know my dates. I haven't been into London since then. All of my condolences. Don't worry about all of this, guys. Let's get on with the questions. It was more of a point to make sure you're all out there. You know, don't just think about your body shape and your condition. You know, think about your kids, think about your family, think about the things that are going on around you, and think about your health. It is important that you're going into the gym with a purpose and that you are eating with a purpose. Don't just spin your wheels, and don't just do this shit over and over again without any reason for it, because eventually there could come a time when you're lying in a hospital bed and it's all very much too late, and it could happen much younger than you think. Thomas, I've had a dodgy left shoulder for a few years, been receiving treatment, would like to know if you recommend any specific exercise good for rehab. My condolences. Thomas, it's a bit of a difficult one because the shoulder's an unbelievably complicated joint, and without knowing exactly what you did to it, what stage you're at now, and where your movement restrictions lie, it's very difficult for me to tell you how to rehab it. Signed up, no more excuses. Well done, Orlando, nice. Advice on exercising with hypermobility in your fingers. Now I could make a really dirty joke here, but I'm not going to, because this is the UP fitness profile and not my own. If I was over there, I'd be on that like a, oh, damn it. But hypermobility in fingers, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know. What issues does it cause? I mean, does it cause you issues with grip? What are we talking about? Give me a little bit more on that. Start week 1, phase 2. Awesome. Don't take any of them. All I take is water, don't do caffeine. Okay, so you may not be drinking enough water, and you may not be resting well enough. You may not be sleeping properly. Lisa Marie Tolley, any advice what? One of the folks you have to remember that if you put a question in 2 or 3 sections, I'm probably not going to answer it, because if all I've just got there, Lisa's usually really good at asking questions, but all I've got is any advice. That's not a question. That's a random line in the middle of my screen here. Any advice on how to continue training after a transformation? Is moving on to the Live Up program the best thing? It can be really, really beneficial because training after after a UP transformation is not difficult. However, the majority of people, because of this sudden freedom and lack of guidance, tend to go really far the other way. As they start eating pizza and they start eating shit and all of the bad habits that they had before, they revert back to. Now, Live Up, if you are an ex-UP client or an ex-PT client of anywhere and you've got your transformation and you think, do you know what, I need something to tick me on by. I need something that engages me. I need something interesting. I need something that has a community of like-minded people I can speak to every day and bounce ideas off. And we've got friendships blossoming all over the Live Up community. We've got people that are making friends from the United States. We've got people meeting up in gyms in Australia. It's an amazing thing. So it can be really, really beneficial because it gives you guidance, it gives you goals, it gives you targets, and it gives you ongoing accountability, which is more than anything super valuable. Training chest while rehabbing impingement on your shoulders. I probably wouldn't recommend it, Tom. I wouldn't recommend any pushing movements, to be honest. How much cardio, football, etc. would you recommend to improve hypertension? I would test your blood pressure week by week just to make sure you can see what's going on, but I would suggest 2 to 3 moderate intensity cardio sessions of half an hour or so per week should start to bring it down. Top 5 leg exercises for quads, hams, and glutes, please. Top 5 leg exercises, they're all going to kind of mix over. There aren't that many exercises for quads, so let's go with the quad extension, front foot elevated split squat, rear foot elevated split squat, walk-in lunge, and forward lunge. Hams, hamstring curl, glute ham raise, Nordic ham curl, Romanian deadlift, single leg deadlift, and glutes, I've just named a few of them. Romanian deadlift, single leg deadlift, also do a hip thrust, American hip thrust, and a staggered hip thrust. There you go. You had to go there, didn't you? Joanne, you followed me for a while. You know me. You knew what sort of thing I was going to respond to that. And what would it, can't say anyone has ever come up to me as a client and said, do you know what, I've got hypermobile fingers, how do I train around them? I'd assume that was a joke, so you're welcome, Philly. Oliver, I've been suffering from piriformis syndrome for the past 2 years and going to the physio made it worse. What would you recommend? Trying to figure out where the actual structural imbalance is that's causing this issue. Obviously you're going to have very, very tight hips. It may be worth spending some time doing something like yoga to loosen your hips up consistently. It's a hard one. Piriformis syndrome can come from many different things. Usually a complete lack of mobility in the knees, ankle or hips. So you have to try and figure out what it is. Was it a past injury? If you had ankle injuries, if you've had knee surgery, if you had something that's restricted one of the other joints, which is then carried across to your hip and tightened up your glute. It could be one of a million things. So you have to try and identify what it was that is the root cause, fix that, and then you'll find everything else settles itself down. Riri, what are your thoughts on BCAAs and pre-workout powders formulas? They can be useful at times. BCAAs is something I use for many years now. Leucine specifically has been shown to be the one that is absolutely vital and very useful right now anyway. Studies are suggesting that leucine is the key, which is why it's the key ingredient along with glutamine, electrolytes and glycine in our Amplify supplement. Is it useful? Absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt, for many reasons. Even flavored BCAAs, if it means you're drinking more water during your training session, then it's good by me. Things like leucine, it's going to help extend the amount of protein, or the time at which protein synthesis is taking place post-workout. It's going to speed the process of muscle building up. It's going to speed up recovery so you can train harder more often, therefore getting better results. Okay, so absolutely it is useful. Pre-workouts, they're on a bit of a different level for me now. If you find that you need a pre-workout before every single training session, there is a major problem there. What that tells me is not that you are training hard because you're taking a pre-workout. It tells me that you're not recovering well enough or there's something wrong with your programming. Because if you are finding that you're so fatigued and so demotivated before your sessions that you're having to take pre-workouts, there is a problem there and you need to address the root cause. Again, we address the cause rather than the problem. So pre-workouts, not so much of a fan of, especially if they're stimulants. If you have non-stimulatory pre-workouts, then I'm more of a fan of them. They can be useful. We do something, it's not necessarily a pre-workout, but something called Focus, which is almost a nootropic-y style thing. So it's going to stimulate a little bit of adrenaline. It gets your brain laser focused in on what you're doing, but it's not going to stimulate you. We have one without caffeine, so it doesn't stimulate you in the same way. But again, if you find that you always need a pre-workout, then you need to address something. There's a stress factor either in your training, your recovery, or your life that you need to get your handle on. You're welcome, Nick. No, seriously, she said she suffers from hypermobility in her fingers. I'm as confused as you. So Joanne, I mean, yeah, my only possible thing would be, as I mentioned, yeah, grip. But there's not a vast amount you can do without grip, because if, you know, maybe you can put some cuffs on her for pulling movements, you can give her some straps, give her some lifting straps, that will really, really help. But at the same time, you want her to slowly learn how to increase the muscle tension around those joints. If she's hypermobile, she needs more strength and more muscles to reduce that hypermobility. Okay, so this is important. So she just needs to take it slowly. Also, bear in mind that some clients are massive hypochondriacs and they will always find some reason why they can't do something. So do bear that in mind. How many grams of BCA should I take during a workout? If you're choosing to take BCAs, 10 to 15 grams per workout would be the one. I'd highly advise you take our Amplify though, because it's what's going to give you the better pump, it's what's going to get you better recovery and faster. One of our guys in the Live Up plan on their check-in actually this week put it in really, really well. He ran out of Amplify because of an issue getting it over to his country, and he said immediately the day he ran out of it, he felt the difference in his training. He said he got halfway through the workout and he was just blown out, he was finished. Whereas when he's taking Amplify, absolutely nails it. So get on over to upfitness.com and check that out, Amplify. Training really hard at the moment. Yeah, as if. What's the best technique to remove a chocolate peanut from my nose? If you put your finger in your own brother's bottom and then slap him in the mouth, you'll tend to find it comes out. How do you warm up your clients for a training session? Rom drums, I do a dynamic warm-up after a little bit of a heartbeat runner. If you go onto my YouTube, Elliot Upton, and look for warm-up on there, and you'll see a little dynamic warm-up that I ran through on a really, really rainy day on our rooftop, and that will help you out. It's something you can follow in real time in the gym, and you can just bash through it. So go check that out. Riri, thank you. One more. Major sweet tooth. How can I curb this whilst maintaining a calorie deficit? For me, one of my favourite things, if you have a sweet tooth or you get cravings a lot, is fizzy water. Sparkling water is an absolute lifesaver for anyone who gets cravings, especially if you put some lemon in it, really, really smashes it. Alternatively, you can get Choco Trients, which is a greens powder we sell on our website. Go to upfitness.com or hit the link in my bio or hit the link in our bio on this main page. And you can look for Choco Trients. Type that in the search bar and it's like a greens powder, but it's an unbelievably rich chocolatey taste. Absolutely awesome. Again, you've heard me mention Amplify a lot. Amplify, one of the amazing things about Amplify and high levels of glutamine in it is that it is a massive appetite suppressant. Massive appetite suppressant. Now, I really, really struggle to control my appetite. However, when I'm taking Amplify, my appetite is pretty much under control. So it's very much worth having that in your repertoire as well. Have it while you're training and maybe take a serving throughout the day and you'll find that your appetite stays nice and under control. Right. Any tips for dealing with exertion headaches? So get them when doing split squats on track bar. Yeah, we've mentioned this on there a few times before. Stretching and massage, you know. What you need to really try and work on doing is these muscles here, the SCM or sternocleidomastoid, and you've got the scalenes in here. You need to try and get them massaged out and stretched out a lot. So, you know, make sure before and after every session, and again throughout the day, that you're stretching in every plane of motion, forwards, backwards, rotating, and that you're getting massage if and when you can. Tension headaches are one of those things that are going to come, you know, as your traps build up, especially on a trap bar deadlift. You need to get them worked out, but it's going to take time, it's going to take a little bit of effort. Again, make sure you're breathing as well. This is very, very important. One of the reasons a lot of people get tension headaches because they're breathing. But stretch, 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 and don't just do it once or twice while you remember. Do it 3 or 4 times a day consistently, and eventually it will sort itself out. The thing is with all of these things is they're usually quite easily cured, but people tend not to want to do them, especially with stretches, because a lot of you think, yeah, I'll do it, and then you just don't. It's the same with foam rolling. It can cure so many things. Yeah, I'll do it, but then you just don't. You give up on it. So, you know, get out there and do it properly. MRI due to severe knee pain shows virtually no cartilage left. I've heard strengthening muscles around can help, can't squat. Strengthening muscles around can help, absolutely, because obviously it's going to maintain some element of tension and stability in that joint. With regards to squatting, you don't necessarily have to squat. There are many, many different versions of squatting, specifically single leg squatting, lunging, split squats are very, very useful for things like this, because again, they're a limited range of motion and you're not going to take the knee joint past what is likely to be a comfortable range. So try single leg variations, such as split squats, such as reverse lunges, such as rear foot elevated split squats, front foot split squats, even Romanian deadlifts. Single leg Romanian deadlifts again is going to tend to tighten up the hamstrings, help with the calves. So there's all sorts of things you can do. I'm doing the massage you said last time, but wondering if you have any other tips. That's pretty much all you're really going to get. It's going to take time though. This is not something that's going to be cured in a week or two. You need to get a damn good massage therapist, and they need to be working on you 2 or 3 times a week, get it loosened off, and then you need to maintain it. Thomas Papp, it's a shame I can't order it to my country. I tried to get the Live Up Essential Pack on the UP website. We're working on that. There's a lot of countries' regulations when it comes to supplements. It's difficult to kind of work with them. Some of them can be quite awkward, but over time we will get that sorted. But for anyone in other countries where you can't get it, I do apologise for that. What I would advise is if you know anyone in the UK, for instance, just because it's where we're based, if you know anyone in the UK who can just buy the pack for you and then ship it out on personal pack, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Where should the bar be placed on / meet the chest when you do an incline chest press? Kind of depends. I would suggest kind of where my lowest button is here, but again you can do a guillotine press where it'll come up much lower, or you can really try and drive it into the subclavicular pec and triceps, and then you bring it down a bit lower. But I would recommend about mid-chest height, so where this joint on my shirt is. Rom Drums, how do you train around a shoulder impingement? I've answered this 3 times on here now, Rom. It's very, very difficult to say. The shoulder is a really, really difficult joint, and without knowing exactly what you have done, exactly what you're capable of, and exactly what causes you pain by looking at you, I can't really say. What I would tend to avoid is things like chest movements and overhead movements. I wouldn't really be training your chest and overhead pressing movements too much for now. My left leg is weaker than my right. Very, very, very normal. Any tips on how to make it stronger? Just train single legs. Just train single legs until they're even. Always train your left leg first and do whatever reps you can do on whatever weight you can do on that one. Then train the right leg on the same number of reps. Don't go right leg first and then train the left, because you'll always end up doing more with the right. Use the left leg to dictate your training and train single leg. Thanks. Sounds like I'm not massaging or stretching and massaging enough. Almost certainly. How to remove water retention around the abdominal area. Tried excess water, reduced sodium, chamomile tea, not helping, no other help on the internet. Wonderful, kind of help show abs. Is it water retention or is it fat? This is one of the things. Abs can be very, very stubborn. If it's water retention, then fine. It could be a lack of sleep. It could be too much estrogen. It could be any number of things. It could be stress. It could be, you name it. But there's also a good chance that it's fat, because if you don't carry water anywhere else in your body, it may not be fat there, and you just need to diet slightly more consistently for longer. BCAAs or EAAs? I would say out to EAAs, April. Is Live Up plan 8 weeks or ongoing? It's an initial 12-week plan, is the kind of main body of the transformation plan. After that, it's ongoing, so it just rolls over indefinitely, and we send you a new program every single month. What does NT Support do? NT Support is basically a zinc supplement. Now zinc is vital for about 300 odd processes in the body, so it's used to make a lot of other stuff happen, including maximizing testosterone in men. So if you have low testosterone, low libido, poor sleep, your inability to put on muscle, you have a difficulty losing fat, zinc could be one of the things you're lacking. Now 30 milligrams a day of elemental zinc is about right for the majority of people, especially men, about 15 milligrams for women. So that is what NT Support is, a zinc supplement. So again, highly, 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 highly recommended. One thing you do want to watch with something like zinc though, is if you're taking a multivitamin at the same time, is that you're not doubling up on the quantities, because zinc can make you a little bit nauseous if you take a bit too much of it. Any tips to really stick to a diet? I seem to give up easy and cheat with it too much. There's one of two things happening here, Willie. You don't want it enough. It's that simple. There's no magic trick to sticking on a diet. It's willpower, because you want it more than you want to cheat. That simple. However, That being said, it could be the fact that you are trying to diet too extremely for your ability. Some people have extremely strong willpower. Some people's goals are very, very, very important to them. These people, and they are rare, can stick to brutal diets, brutal fast transformation diets. 90% of the population do not have that willpower, they do not have that drive, they do not have that self-discipline, they do not have that application to a goal like this. So what I would recommend is, instead of trying to diet like a bodybuilder who has all of these qualities, that you try to diet like the person you are and say, do you know what, I know I'm a bit flaky at certain things, so I'm going to set my diet out in a way that I give myself 18 weeks to get there rather than 8. And you make smaller changes, things that are less brutal and much easier to stick to. Many thanks. It's not fat. I've been tested for body fat. Also tested my hormonal levels, which are all normal. Any advice would be wonderful. As on point with a diet. PS, awesome live shows and info. Then, you know, potentially your only thing left, if you're that lean, if you are genuinely that lean, if you've got, say, a sub 4mm abdominal fold, and it genuinely is water, so you would have to be, if we're talking water, you'd pretty much have to be in contest preparation shape. If you are there, then the only thing would be to do a pre-contest water loading protocol, but that's a temporary measure. It's something to go up and down on. It's not a permanent solution. But again, I would have to question why, if you're so convinced that it's only water left on your abs, then I can't imagine you'd want to get any leaner than that, because you would have what we would call dick skin over your abs, and you would be that lean, you'd just have a thin layer of skin over your abs. I sit all day now, my ligaments are weak and hurt when I squat. Any ideas what do you suggest I do? Your ligaments are weak and hurt. How do you know they're weak, for a start? And if they hurt, you're probably not squatting correctly, or you're squatting incorrectly for you. You probably haven't warmed up properly. You probably don't stretch anywhere near enough. Put your hand up if any of those answers are you. If you want some help with the pain, I would advise taking a curcumin supplement. If you go to upfitness.com, take curcumin. It's really, really good for bringing down that kind of systemic inflammation, getting everything back on a level. But if specifically when you're talking about us tendons now, so again, you're probably just not looking after yourself well enough. You know, one of the major issues we have with so many, myself included in the past, so many of you out here who speak about injuries, who speak about this, who speak about that, what you tend to ask me for is some magic solution to suddenly take everything away, when ultimately you know what that solution is. It's warming up properly, it's cooling down properly, it's self-care, it's massage, it's stretching, it's foam rolling, it's doing all of the boring shit that we don't want to do. But almost nobody out there, almost nobody will spend 20 to 30 minutes per day stretching, will they? If anyone out there who has asked me about injuries can genuinely say I spend 20 to 30 minutes a day stretching, I'd be really interested to hear, because then you shouldn't really be injured. Then you're doing something really silly. We have got 12 minutes left. It's flying past today. It's going fast, 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 fast. What have we got? I'm at the end of the questions here. I'm gonna have another drink of water. Turmeric as a supplement, good. Same lines as curcumin. I'm finding it difficult to bulk up, and it's simply because I struggle to eat enough. Any tips on how to eat more without forcing it? To a degree, if you want to get bigger, there's going to be an element of forcing it that is necessary. But fats. Add avocado to everything, add peanut butter to everything, add olive oil to everything. Fats are your best friend. 9 calories per gram of fats, and they are essentially, for the most part, a liquid and extraordinarily easy to get down your throat. So fats. This is, the same is true. One of the things in the Live Up diet is fats are astonishingly good for your health and body composition. If you are eating the right fats, and we're not talking ketosis style shit here, I'm talking proper fats, unsaturated fats, getting things done right, and they're insanely good for your body. If you're currently struggling to get in shape, but you have a diet that is extremely low in fats, there is a good chance that is why you're struggling to get in shape, and that is why on a Live Up plan, with a few exceptions who've had the fats taken away because they seem to respond better to it, and we're talking 2 or 3 out of several hundred, Fats are high, and you will love having a high fat diet when it's done correctly, because you'll get the best results from it. Cable flies or dumbbell flies, which is better? For me, cables, just because of the constant resistance. What you'll find on a dumbbell fly is that the resistance disappears towards the top as the moment arm shortens, whereas on a cable there is constant resistance throughout the full range of motion, which I much prefer. I don't respond well to avocado, but need fats in my diet. Yes, I would suggest you do. Don't have avocado then. There's plenty of other things you can have. You can have nuts, you can have oils. Go nuts. Pun intended. What's a good way to cool down after a training session? Stretching. Spending a minute or two stretching on all the major muscles, especially the ones that hurt. And when I say a minute or two, I don't mean Jesus Christ. I don't mean spending a minute or two on all of the muscles. I mean on each muscle. Okay, so if you find that you're having real problems with your knees, you're going to need to spend a couple of minutes on each leg, stretching out your adductors properly, stretching out your hamstrings, stretching out your calves, stretching out your quads, doing a post-workout foam rolling session, spare 15-20 minutes post-session to properly cool yourself down and get the muscles moving and keeping blood circulating while you cool down. Started phase 1 of the UP online plan. My workouts are early AM. I'm having a meal with carbs within 1 hour post-workout. I'm ready for a nap an hour after the meal. I would suggest, John, then just potentially reduce your carb intake a little bit. You may be having a negative insulin response, so reduce the carb intake in that meal a bit and put those carbs, put them later on in the day. So let's say half that portion and then put them later on in the day. You could just be having a slightly negative insulin response there. Either that or you're just tired from a heavy session. And no, you shouldn't switch the carbs to the evening just yet. You want to try and use them post-workout. So say, just shift everything across. Thoughts on krill oil? I have no issue with krill oil whatsoever. Tends to be in very, very cold waters, which are slightly less toxic, which can be beneficial absolutely to you. Arctic krill, things like that, is often less toxic than various fish oils taken from other parts of the world. Especially with all the various nuclear issues we've had in power stations across Asia, etc. But yeah, seas, they're a damaged place now. Very, very damaged place. I quite like the idea of what the Atlanteans did in Aquaman. If anyone's seen it, cool film, go watch it. Jason Momoa was a beast. Yeah, they threw everything back out for like years and years and years and years of shit that we put in it. Atlanteans just were like, no, fuck you, whoosh. Threw like warships on the beach. Obviously I don't want it to land on my beach because my beach is nice, but you know what I mean. I like the gesture. We do abuse our earth massively. 7 minutes remaining. 7 minutes remaining. 1,500 calories. Too much of a deficit. I'm 5'11" and weigh 82, but need to lose the last bit of belly fat. John, it's not necessarily too few. However, you wouldn't want to stay down there too long. You're probably going to be wanting to refeed once or twice a week. One of the things you'll need to remember, folks, is that each one of us out there, you get a lot of people who are screaming about X amount of calories you need to put here or there or blah, 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 blah. Yes, there's some truth in that. But every single person burns different amounts of calories. Now, I'm currently sitting at 102 kilograms. 102 kilograms. Now, I do not start losing body fat at all, nothing, until 2,000 calories. Just under, about 1,900. Okay, now I have dieted women. I've dieted my own sister, in fact, on the Live Up plan. I've dieted my own sister on 3,500 calories and she got leaner post-pregnancy. Now I am 45 kilos heavier than my sister. 38 kilos heavier than my sister, and I can only start getting leaner on 1,500 calories less than her. So each of us out there has a different metabolic set point. We have a different amount of calories that we are going to get lean on. So a lot of people who say, oh, too many calories, too few calories, blah, 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 blah. There's only a little bit of truth in that. One of the things that is important though, that if you are down at the lower end of stuff, you do need to come back out of there fairly regularly. Now what I would recommend is if you spent, let's say 3 weeks to a month in a deficit, and your body starts to slow down, okay? You slow down in your weight loss. It's very, very important that you intermittently spike back out of that. I would suggest starting by carb spiking up to your calorie maintenance at the very least. Give it a few days, see how you feel. You may be able to go a little bit higher, or you may be able to bring those refeeds more frequently, but don't stay down there too long. 1,500 calories at that weight is probably not an issue, but don't stay down there too long. How should I warm up before a workout? What should I do after a workout? I do full body workouts. Willie, I've just actually explained in detail what you should be doing after a workout, so you can rewatch the video to check that out. And I've also explained with regards to the warm up, but I will explain that again because it's nice and easy. If you go over to my YouTube channel, that's Elliot Upton, and look for the warm up video there. I've filmed a dynamic warm up, just a really, really simple, quick 10-minute warm up that you can do, and do it with me in real time on there. And that's how to prep yourself pre-workout. Do you have different flavors of protein shakes? We sure do. I believe the protein shakes we currently have are vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, and they are all awesome. We have vegan proteins and whey proteins, so we do have a variation. What flavor amplifier do you recommend? I prefer personally pineapple. We have pineapple and raspberry, the two that I've had. I believe we also have a lemon and lime one, which I've not yet tried, but I will try that. But again, it's one of those things. Some people have a bit of an issue with the taste of our amplifier. Now, the issue with trying to mask the taste of that amount of leucine, because leucine is not a nice tasting supplement, but it's incredibly effective, as you'll find out when you use amplifier. It's not a nice tasting supplement. Now, we could have masked it and hid the taste like a lot of manufacturers do by loading the thing full of sugar and shite and sweeteners. We didn't do that, so it's not the most incredible tasting in the world. However, it is one of the most effective if not the most effective intra-workout supplement you will ever use. It's going to accelerate the speed at which you burn fat. It's going to accelerate the speed at which you build muscle. It's going to improve your performance no end. It's going to improve your recovery no end. And more than all of that, the most powerful aspect of it for me, I mentioned very briefly earlier, is it does an unbelievable thing to any of you out there who really struggle to control your appetite. It's incredible at keeping your appetite in check. Incredible. I love it. Love it. One serving, I do 2 scoops, me personally, I do 2 scoops during my workout, and then I have 2 more scoops in a big 1.5 litre bottle, which I drink throughout the day, usually closer to the evening, just in case that's when cravings or something are going to start to hit me, and it helps me keep things under control. I saw a guy on YouTube who eat vitamin pills in the morning. Is this something I should start doing? It's absolutely worth taking a multivitamin, yes. Taking a multivitamin can really keep the doctor at bay. Very, very useful to do. I have a strongman comp coming up at the end of the month. Should I have a complete week off before comp, or just do a deload week? Depends how hard you've been training, depends how you feel, depends how your niggles. You know, something like a deload is probably adequate. You're going to want to keep moving. I would probably take maybe 3 days off before the comp though, and actually have a proper rest, sleep well, get some massages, keep yourself moving, and then you should be right. But a week may be a little bit much. Thoughts on digestive enzymes and gut flora, or how often should you take? I've done a big thing on this at the beginning of this video with regard to digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes take, if it's hours, take one per meal, so say 3 per day, should be more than enough to set you right. And with regards to gut flora, again, take it in the mornings with meals, and again, I think it's 2 to 3 capsules daily. So gut flora is a probiotic, and our digestive enzymes are enzymes that help you break down proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and help you partition those nutrients where they need to go. So both very, very useful and highly recommended supplements. And how should you take? How often should you take? There you go, just nailed that. Best tips for someone starting a career as a PT in a commercial gym. Do as many sessions as you possibly can. Talk to as many PTs as you possibly can, both the good ones and the bad ones. Talk to as many clients as you can, both the good ones and the bad ones. Be in that gym before anybody else is in that gym. Be out of that gym after anybody else is out of that gym, and do every single thing you can to figure out how to get the most out of your clients, how to give the clients more. The more you can figure out how to give the clients, the more you will learn back from them, and eventually the better PT that will make you. The quicker you can get that into your head, and the quicker you can apply that work ethic and clients see you applying that work ethic, the better your business is going to be, the stronger your business is going to be, and the faster you will become a successful PT. It takes time, it takes effort, and it's a difficult job. It's a really difficult job being a PT. I was actually having a chat with one of our own personal trainers today with regards to, not all clients are going to thank you. You can put your heart and soul, and especially as UP trainers, we do put our heart and soul and our entire lives into our clients. Everything that we are, everything that we do is based around getting the best out of our clients. And not all of them are going to say thank you. A number of them are probably going to stitch you up. So you have to have a thick skin, you have to be tough, and you have to be ready to take that. But don't let it stop you. First one in, last one out, as Will Smith says, and make sure you are learning. Speak to everyone, learn from everyone, both the good and the bad, and then make it your own. Right, we are down to 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. This is the quick fire stuff. This little bit of announcement. Keep your eye out on my profile on Monday. I will be releasing tickets to the seminar. I have 60 spaces available, 30 in London, 30 in Manchester on the 24th of March and the 7th of April for a seminar that I'll be running that is basically going to be a live and training version of these live feeds. They will be going for release on Monday. The Live Up members get first dibs on them. On Sunday, they will be having their tickets released. Now, it may well sell out, I do not know, but anything that is not sold out on that first Sunday when they get released to the Live Up members will be going public, but there are only 30 spaces, so keep your eyes out on my profiles and check them out. I've got 30 seconds remaining. Is there any reason why people can't maintain peak share all year round? Yes, because unless you've got amazing genetics, keeping such low body fat is not only an absolute ball ache, it ruins your social life and it's potentially quite unhealthy. Orlando, keep an eye out for that. Awesome. Right, I've got 15 seconds. Any more questions in there? Other than that, keep an eye out for the seminars. Make sure you're keeping your eye out for Arusha's live feed or any of the other team who are doing live feed. A few of the other guys, a few of my colleagues from around the world have started doing these live feeds now. So come check them out. I will see you all very, very soon. Christian, Messassi, bye, 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 bye. I've been Elliot Upton. This was me. This is YouTube. That was our Instagram live feed on @UPFitnessLive. Now, if you didn't get a chance to join me live there and ask questions, do put them in the comments box below here and I will be happy to answer them as best I can. If not, get on over there, Wednesdays, 8 o'clock on @UPFitnessLive on Instagram. Give me a follow @Elliot Upton. Give the Live Up program page a follow @Live Up. And until next week, well, the week after, technically, peace out. I, as always, have been Elliot Upton.